plaid outfit. You know, I have Scottish in, or I have had once or twice. I was a little drunk. Oh, hey! Hi! It's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 11, Episode 12. And before I start everything, before there's been a grievous injustice, and it's my fault. I would like to take a moment to thank personally and out loud Leon Makers. I hope that's how you say your last name, Makers. I know it's Leon though. Leon has been a Patreon supporter almost right out of the gate and has never had his name in the credits because apparently somebody keeps submitting him. Okay, maybe it was me. But anyway, Leon, thank you so much. I just want to say out loud, I'm so sorry. That said, your name is in the credits this week. Seriously, because I double checked. Also, Leon is one of the many PayPal supporters that have sent me a few dollars to help me in my time of need. My computer, as you may know, died. Oh, I can't afford to cremate it. I can't afford to bury it. I certainly can't afford to replace it. And there's been a bunch of people who have supported me on PayPal Direct. I'd like to thank them, and I'm going to do it at the end I'm adding them to the credits at the end. So if you're one of those people, stay tuned right to the end. If you're not, well, you should stay tuned to the end and see how many gracious, lovely people there are in the world. Not that if you haven't donated, you aren't. Because the one thing that is constant for me with the Wilma Fingerdoo review is that it's free. You don't have to pay for it. But I do accept tips. Seriously. All right, so let's get to it. Jorge, drink me. Ooh, so pink and pretty. What is it? It's got it's watermelon, I'm assuming. Watermelon gin. Ooh. Okay. One of the ways you can support me is through Patreon, as Leon Makers does. And this is one of my drinks that you can see a tutorial for on my Patreon page. This is watermelon gin. It's patio season. Things are warming up. I thought this would be a fabulous way to kind of get us in the patio summer mood. So basically, this is gin, watermelon vodka, and some real, obviously, watermelon. You don't want to go fake with watermelon unless it's in vodka. That's all I'm saying. So you can go to Patreon and watch a tutorial, or the drink recipe is down below so you can drink along at home. Let's have a sip. Summery and fresh. Of course, there's club soda in this to keep it light, and an aluminum straw so we don't kill our birds and turtles, I'm just saying. I have to get a second one out of there. Okay, so let's get to it. We started the episode off by saying goodbye to Nina, and you could see that every queen there was gonna miss her. Clearly, this is somebody who's got a good chance to win Miss Congeniality. But I just need to ask, who does Talkie have pictures of naked? Somebody owes her a favor. She's blackmailing somebody. I don't mean to disparage Talkie, but I'm not the only one who's a little miffed by how she's staying in this competition this late in the game with her ratchet drag. I mean, Akira, God bless her, was completely surprised by how busted she seemed to be during the lip sync, and even Ms. Brooks was let down by not seeing some huge reason as to why Talkie keeps telling everybody why she's the entertainer she is. Seriously, poor Talkie. I mean, she was upset too. But you could see the writing was on the wall for Talkie because she was moved to forgive Evie. For what, I still have no idea. But she did. She, for whatever reasons that she has been having a problem with Ms. Evie, she finally said that she forgave her, which I think is talkie talk for, sorry. I mean, otherwise I don't understand what the hell's going on. Why would she forgive her? Seriously. But the one question that I still have burning in my mind is, will Talkie be able to fix those boots? Because they were cute. The next day in the workroom, the queens were surprised by Michelle. It was her annual visit to the workroom to give the final five their final challenge, which was to not only perform in the video for RuPaul's latest single, Queens Everywhere, but they also had to write and record their own lyric, which they would lip sync to during a performance that was choreographed by Mr. Todrick Hall, I'm just saying. Well, right away you could see A'keria sweating up because now that Scarlett's gone, she's the worst dancer in the bunch, I'm just saying. Of course, in the middle of all of that prep, the queens were also going to be featured on What's the Tea with RuPaul and Michelle Visage, their fabulous podcast. If you haven't listened to this, well, I don't know if we can be friends, I'm just saying. So, the queens got to it. Right away, A'keria was MC Chanel Davenport. I don't know, but all the queens had to do was write a verse. She wrote 2 pages. You know, the last time something like that happened to a queen, it didn't go well. Thorgy Thorn. Taki was not having the same experience. She really didn't seem to know where to start, which is probably why she asked Evie how she was going to rap. Evie had a great approach. She was just going to brag about herself, and really, why wouldn't you? Because if you wait for someone else to do it, you grow old. What are you looking at? So the queens got to the recording studio with delicious Todrick Hall, although I didn't like his hair. I don't know, short of Manila Luzon, this split, I never liked that on people. But Todrick is so handsome and so lovely, I can overlook it. Just saying. I mean, what am I going to do, kick him out? Hey, if he ever shows up at my place, he'll be lucky to get out, I'm just saying. Todrick Hall. First up, Vanjie. Well, of course she wrote great lyrics. Vanjie's one of those people, I just think she's one of those people, she just starts the motor and it runs. And she seemed to have no problem recording with Todrick. I mean, even to the point where she just was making noises. It was almost better than what she wrote. Vanjie clearly was having no problem with this challenge so far, I'm just saying. Evie's recording seemed to go super well as well. I mean, she got great direction from Todrick, which she took, which is clearly her only job. So good for Evie, I'm just saying. I had a hoot watching Brooklyn Heights get all gangsta or jiggy. I don't know what she was doing. It involved a lot of finger banging. I don't know what was going on. Taki Ganache had all kinds of energy and was raring to go, but had no control over what she was saying. And at some points was just speaking in tongues. But A'keria, on the other hand, had the opposite problem. Too much control. She was completely precise and clear, but as Todrick Hall said, it sounded like she was reading something in church. It was just a little glassy. And the one thing about A'keria that I like is that she seems to play her cards close to her chest. She doesn't give a lot up. But when you're recording a verse, you're going to be lip syncing in a video that will judge whether or not you're going on. You better bring it, is all I'm saying. Serious. On What's the Tea, I have to say I was super surprised to hear that A'keria is raising her brother's son. I mean, I'm not surprised that she's doing it, but I think that the lifestyle of a drag queen or any performer who's not making a lot of money, got to travel a lot of that money goes back to drag. It's hard to raise kids. And I need to say, I admire anyone who does it. Here's to A'keria and anyone out there. Raising kids is the most important job there is. And to have somebody like A'keria that has a broad spectrum of what the world has to offer and what's possible, I'm excited for that kid. Although I love A'keria, it certainly made me love her just a titchy touch more, I'm just saying. Taki wore her good hair scarf to the taping of What's the Tea, and right away Michelle got into her education. And this was the thing. Silky had said that she had a BA in organizational management and that she'd recently gotten her MBA, like a degree. She's a doctor. But wasn't it episode 2 when she had said that she was working towards it, like she didn't have it already? I mean, oh God, I have to apologize to Taki Ganache because clearly she is burning the candles at both ends if she's able to compete at RuPaul's Drag Race and finish a doctorate. Good for Taki. I had no idea. Just like Evie's What's the Tea time consisted a lot of how hard it's been for her because of just being different and being odd and not being accepted. And I have to say that I said this early in the season that Evie always says that she doesn't care what people think of her. Of course she cares. Yes, she could. And being told things, regardless what they're telling you, if they're negative, it does hurt. And poor Evie, I'm just glad that Michelle gave her a little advice. Because the other thing is, Evie's young. Being young is for making mistakes. If you're not making mistakes when you're young, God help you if you make them when you're older, I'm just saying. Our Ms. Brooks shocked the hell out of me during her What's the Tea taping by saying she's never had a boyfriend. I'm just assuming she slept around. You don't have to marry everyone. It's okay, Brooklyn. And finally, Vanjie went on and on about his lovely mother, Annabelle. How can you not love a person named Annabelle? I'm so serious. And clearly, they're very close. And I wasn't close with my mother, but I'm always so happy to see people that are. So good for Vanjie. Well done. And then it was on to the dance rehearsal with Todrick Hall. And they weren't kidding. This was involved. And poor Akira, oh my God. Being quiet when she's watching and absorbing and digesting what's going on doesn't help her because it makes her look like she's lost, or she's not lost, she's just trying to get stuff. And some people's brains don't work well with moving and thinking all at the same time. And poor Akira proved that today, God bless her. But she didn't let it get her down, and she tried to keep up as best she could. I'm super glad that Todrick told Vanjie to connect with the audience. This is the thing I think I've been having problems with Vanjie this whole season, is that she just seems distant, separated from what's going on in front of her when she's performing, like almost glass-like she's not looking at anyone. And when she was rehearsing, she was looking down, counting and looking down, and Todrick was like, no, you gotta come at people, like Beyonce, come out, head up. And that made a lot of difference, I have to say. And clearly, Vanjie can dance. This was not a part of the challenge that was going to give her any trouble. Seriously. Somebody I thought would have absolutely no trouble during this part of the challenge was Ms. Brooklyn Heights. But she was given a crash course in stank face, because the problem with being a trained performer is it's hard to unlearn that training, and ballet is the hardest training of all. And she just didn't, she was too poised, she was too elegant, she needed to stank it up. And hopefully Todrick inspired her to do just that. I like Todrick's stank face. Kiss him. I know Evie said that she looked like one of those car sale blow-up things when she was dancing, but I thought she looked more like a wet noodle because she had very little control. Like, she had all the steps down, but she just kind of threw her body to kind of get to that point quickly. There was no control there. But clearly, Evie is somebody who I think always seems to be able to polish that apple before anyone takes a bite. Just saying. Talking nutmeg ganache surprised the living hell out of me. That girl had it down. She may not have been the most graceful dancer, she may not have been the most fluid, but she kept up with those backup dancers, hit every move she needed to move, and even smacked that ass when she was done. I was very, but here's to Talkie. Good for you, Talkie. Seriously. Then, just when I thought the rehearsal was going to be over, Todrick took the girls to their soundstage for the video taping that they were going to be doing later. And Fear of Fears, one take. That's where Todrick dropped the bomb on all those queens. One take is all they were going to get in the filming of this video. There was no retakes, no do-overs. If you didn't hit it here, it was going to show. And you could literally hear Akira's ass slamming shut, because there's a lot there to slam. And then it was Elimination Day. The queens were getting ready. Talkie took a moment to thank everyone for their acceptance, on whatever level she felt she was getting it or not. But she thanked everyone and said that she knows she's a lot to handle, and was very thankful that they did their best to make her feel at home. God bless her. Evie thanked everyone as well for their acceptance, as well she should, because she didn't make it easy this season, I'm just saying. Then Brooklyn Heights asked the girls what their favorite moment of season 11 was. Well, of course, Akira said LADP because she, A, won that challenge, but also she was hilariously funny and gave a great performance. Talkie, surprisingly enough, said being Oprah was her favorite part. But then again, she won that challenge, so of course she would pick that. You could tell Vanjie was feeling a little worried. And I mean, she's the one queen in the top 5 who hasn't won a challenge yet. And she started calling herself the turtle, as the tortoise. I think she meant tortoise in the hair, turtle in the rabbit, whatever. She's like, you gotta bet on the turtle, and God bless her. I think that the one thing about Vanessa Vanjie Mateo is she is no turtle, seriously. Of course, then all the queens wanted to know, will Brangie continue? Will we see Brangie on another day? And I thought it was very nice that not only had Brooklyn and Vanjie talked about it, but that they were looking at possibly seeing how they could get along outside of the competition. Because the one thing we have to remember is these TV shows, these competitions, any of it where these showmances happen, this is not the best place to meet people for a long-lasting thing. It's great to pursue it, and I'm glad that Vanjie and Brooklyn are, but that said, I mean, seriously, all you can hope for on a show like that is to get some good camera time, maybe get a good quickie out by the smoke machine and possibly go home with a trip or two. Something that Brooklyn is totally doing. Then it was time to hit the runway, and all I need to say is, oh, I hated this dress on Ru. What is she doing to me? It's like she wore the best dress ever last week, and because I got that good dress, I have to look at this one. All that ruffle just added bulk to her, just made her look bigger. And I know Todrick Hall said she looked like Glinda the Good Witch, but while Ru was fiddle-dee-deeing, I thought she does look a bit more like Scarlett O'Hara, I'm just saying. Either way, there was Ru. Of course, it was only family on the judging panel because it's the last challenge. So we had Mama Michelle looking gorgeous, and Ross Matthews looking gorgeous, and where the hell has he been? Carson Kressley. He's not been there the whole season, it feels like. But he was back. And of course, our lovely Todrick Hall. So it was time to watch the video. Now, I need to just start off by saying A'keria was spectacular. She looked good. She moved good. She didn't look to be any bothered by the people around her. Her lip sync was tight. She did an excellent job. But as she was walking through the door for Brooklyn's part, it seemed to me that she almost closed the door back on the camera so they wouldn't look at Brooklyn. I'm just wondering, I'm just saying, pageant shenanigans? Who can say? That said, Brooklyn did a great job too. She always looks fantastic. But I have to say, I agree with Mama Michelle about her performance. It just lacked oomph. Something, like it was technically perfect. She didn't miss anything. She looked, but just distanced or disconnected from what she was doing. There was no passion, there was no emotion, but Brooklyn still did an excellent job. Talkie, oh my God, not only did she bust out of that bathroom stall, what the hell was going on in there, I'd like to ask, but she busted up a few of those. That one girl, I don't know if she's even regained consciousness. She just knocked her into next week. And I have to say, Talkie's segment was weird because it just seemed to me that most of it didn't happen with her face on camera. She did that death splat, and we couldn't see her face. And then she was running away from the camera, and then turned around last minute for that last note, which she missed. She just didn't seem to have as much camera time as everyone else. And on top of that, still didn't seem to do very well. Speaking of not doing very well, oh God damn it. Vanjie, I hate loving her. I hate loving Vanessa Vanjie Mateo because she lets me down. And she let me and herself down during this performance. Where was this dancing she was doing during the rehearsal? It was spectacular. And this connection that she was starting to build with her audience went right out the door. Oh, it broke my heart. She didn't even seem to be lip syncing. If she did, it was just a quick little couple of movements and that was the end of it. This was a very disappointing performance. And the thing that made it the most disappointing was that she was in a lot. She had that one segment in her area and then she went out with the fan to another. So she had a lot to screw up. And I feel like she really did. Poor thing. The final performance, of course, was Ms. Evie Oddly, and she won it. If they were going to have a winner this week, it would have been Evie Oddly. Her lip sync was great. The direction Todrick gave her was spectacular because the lip sync itself had a lot of emotion in it, the sound, which gave her a lot of impetus for all that weird movement that she did. And that walkover that she slid across the stage, oh my God, it was spectacular. She did an excellent job. And I just have to say, it's a good week for Evie to especially after last week, I'm just saying. And then it was time for the runway best drag. And Brooklyn Heights was first and the most disappointing. I hate to say this out loud, but I wish that she had done an editorial ballerina. She went classic, she went literal, and the problem with ballet is it doesn't allow for a lot of interpretation on a classic level. So on a classic level, Brooklyn looked fantastic, but almost every other runway she's worn was better than that outfit. It wasn't the best drag for Brooklyn, in my opinion. I wish she had reinterpreted the ballerina, done something more maybe disassembled or deconstructed or just gone for something totally pageanty. But I understand she wanted to show off her toe shoes, and why not? Seriously. Next down the runway was Akira's wig. Is this the fourth time that wig's been down that runway? Sweet criminy. This time, though, it was under Taki Ganache. And Taki looked great. That dress was fabulous. It had a built-in corset. She had her boobs up and her fupa down. It was fantastic. But I don't know if that's her best drag. I think I've seen her have better drag on before this, too. But either way, she looked great. Thanks to Akira's wig. Vanjie looked breathtaking in that gorgeous emerald green Gone with the Wind inspired gown. It was gorgeous, and so was that wig. I just don't think it was enough to make up for her crappy performance in the video. Evie Oddly was as odd as she could be with that runway, with threes. She had 3 eyes, 3 boobs, 3 fingers, 3 butts, or at least that's what I think her dress meant at the back. I don't know. But first out of the gate, as odd as she looked, Jesus, she was beat for the gods. RuPaul was right. She was blended to an inch of her life. That is the most glamorous makeup I've seen on anyone on RuPaul's Drag Race. But with Evie, just her colors and tones were spectacular. And then the eye was beautiful. The boobs were beautiful. It was a very, very Evie runway. And yet, I have to agree, that was her best drag. It was fantastic. Last down the runway, but certainly not least, was my girl Akira, and she looks spectacular. I'm so impressed that she embellished that dress herself, because that's a lot of work. But that said, the only thing I wish is that beaded fringe that was in the bottom part of the dress, it seemed to go across her at an angle at the knee, and it looked weird. I wish it had kind of come up in certain areas just to break it up a little bit. You know, it just started. It just seemed, but I'm splitting fringes here. And it wouldn't be top 5 if RuPaul didn't whip out some baby pictures. And all the queens had something inspirational and supportive to say to themselves as a baby. But I was particularly touched by Evie's words to herself, which basically were that not every time somebody has an opinion about you, that it's personal, or that you shouldn't always take everything that everyone has to say personally, and to lighten up. I was very impressed by that, because she's not wrong. So, after the judges deliberated, it was no surprise to me that Akira and Evie were both safe. What did surprise me was Taki not being in the bottom too. Now, I accepted Vanjie being in the bottom because she did have a rough performance. Again, and I do understand why Brooklyn was in the bottom, because her performance was a little wooden. But I don't understand why Taki wasn't in the bottom. Every judge seemed to have bigger problems with Taki's performance than with other people's. If this was an orchestrated bottom 2, I understand. Brooklyn Heights lip-syncing against Miss Vanjie certainly makes for better TV than Taki against Vanjie. But I was just so surprised that it was down to Brooke and Vanjie. And you could tell the two of them, they were like, ugh. But what was interesting was, clearly Vanjie did not hold back. She let it all fly. But Brooklyn, I think, was kind of hobbled by her ballerina outfit. It kind of dictated a lot of what she was going to do. And she did do her splits with her head, which I've seen that move 3 times now. And I'm not saying it's a bad move, but I like it better when she's got a wig on, a long wig. I'm just saying. I felt that Vanjie was the more interesting to watch of the two. But Brooklyn put a lot of emotion in this performance. If she was wooden in the video, she certainly wasn't in this. And maybe that's the cutting edge that kept Brooklyn in the top 4. Plus, she's won 3 challenges. And Vanjie was this week's sashayer. God bless Ms. Vanjie. I have to say, no one had a better return to RuPaul than her. She did an excellent job. She really did redeem herself. She showed the world a lot of not only who she is as a performer, but who she is as a person. And I'm excited to see what Ms. Vanjie has coming down the pike. That said, it's top 4 next week. Reunion, and you know somebody's getting slapped. If somebody doesn't get slapped at this reunion, I may fly out to LA and just start at the airport and go straight through the city. Slap, slap, slap. And then the week after that, 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks, well, a week after this week. I don't know. I'm so late with these videos, I don't even understand what day it is anymore. But the week after the reunion, it is the grand finale where we will have our America's Next Drag Superstar for 2019. I'm so excited. Who do you think it's going to be? Oh, well, you know, it's just going to be shenanigans and buffoonery. There'll be wheels to spin and picks to choose, and it'll be anybody's guess. I couldn't be happier, though. I love our top 4. Well, I would have loved it more, I think, if Vanjie had been in it and Taki wasn't. I'm not saying Taki doesn't deserve to be there, because Taki is a talented individual, but I like Vanjie more. I can't help it there. I pick sides. Oh, I feel awful. So, all we can do is tune into RuPaul's Drag Race next week for the reunion, and then give it 1 more week, and we're on to the finale. Oh, so, until then, like this video if you did. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because even though RuPaul's Drag Race is almost done, there's so much more for you and I to do together here on the tubes. And if you want to support me, help me get my computer fixed, my PayPal Direct is down there. My Patreon link is down there. Also, I have Wilma swag, t-shirts, mugs, books, stickers. Redbubble.com, that link is down below too, as well as this week's watermelon gin cocktail. Delish. So, until next week, miss me. Mwah. Oh, seriously, Jorge. I think we should just go to a party right now.